Okay, so in this video, we will be creating a list where on Android it will look like material list, on iOS it will look like Cupertino list. So we will go back to home screen. Before that, we will make home screen as the main screen of our app, and we will go back to home screen. And instead of we will have this adaptive scaffold, we will have adaptive app bar where it says, let's say we will display a list of all the adaptive widgets that can be made, and all those widgets I will be also displaying in this whole series of adaptive widgets. So let's make this list of adaptive widgets app. We don't need any leading icon here, we don't need any scaffold background here. Instead of center, we will have adaptive list. That's it. And we'll go back to our widgets folder. We will create another directory and let's say list here. We'll say in the dart file we'll have adaptive list. So this is the normal thing that we are doing in all the videos where we create an adaptive widget and then we also utilize this iOS variable everywhere so that we can switch between the list. So basically a list has elements. All the elements are showcased in listview.builder or column or listview.separated or normal list view. We will see listview.builder. Here we will have a context and index, and then we will have a list of items. Now what are these items? List view in general need not be of Cupertino type or material type. It's the content inside that will be of material type or Cupertino type. So list style will be different. So for material it would be list style, and for Cupertino it will be Cupertino list style. So we will see many things, many attributes that match between these two list style design elements from both these great design libraries. So for that we will create adaptive list style. So we will have another widget of name adaptive list style. Similar stuff. Okay. Here as well we'll copy this and put it here. I think we don't need this iOS here because a list style will intelligently decide whether it's iOS or it's Android. In this list style, so let's I have already a list of some items. So this is the list of widgets that I created. I will just showcase you what it is. So there is an abstract class. It has title and subtitle. Then there is a material widget view class that has title and subtitle, and Cupertino widget title and subtitle. I have a list of Cupertino widgets and list of material widgets that can be used to create adaptive widgets. Okay, and that's what this series is about. For example, we have initially Cupertino app, and as a replacement to that there was material app. So this is the list of those widgets. Okay, now we will be using this list to showcase, to put in this list view.builder. Based on where it is running, we will have material widgets list, or if it is running on iOS, we will have iOS list. So I think we will need to bring this back. I will be having a list of widgets here. If it's iOS, I will have Cupertino widgets, otherwise material widgets. Items count here, widgets dot length, and then in the adaptive list style we will have majorly two things. Let's start with only two things. We'll have a text widget that will say widgets index dot title, and then we will also have a subtitle. Okay, this is generally the two fields of list style as well. So we will have these two things, and now we will move to adaptive list style. Of course, two widgets are required here, one for title and other one for subtitle. Okay, we will have these two as title is required, subtitle can be optional. So we have done it like that. And now here, if it's iOS, we will have Cupertino list style, and title will be title, subtitle will be subtitle. So luckily we have very similar naming convention for list style as well. So we don't need to think much about it. Title will be title, and here as well subtitle will be subtitle. Of course, there are some properties that don't match with iOS conventions and material conventions, so we will just have them specified only for that platform, and we will not worry much about that. So we are in home screen. We have this adaptive list. Inside it, adaptive list, we have this adaptive list style, and subtitle named parameter. Okay, got it. I capitalized title here. Okay, going back to adaptive list. Yes, this works, and there's a widget length. Okay, fine. Let's try to run this for Android and for iOS. Okay, so I have run it for both. So this is our adaptive widget list. I click on this, nothing happens, but yeah, this is the thing, right? And this is how it looks different, correct? So what else we can do in adaptive list style? We can have leading items, we can have trailing items, so, and we can have additional info for Cupertino list style, and that additional info does not belong anywhere. This additional info can be trailing can be in the trailing for list style. So we will work on that now. So first let's do the leading and trailing widgets, because those are again very straightforward. And in the adaptive list style, I will just go here and I will say widget leading and trailing, and it would be trailing here, leading here. Okay, great. What we have to do here? Nothing much. We go here, leading, we have this leading widget here. Okay, and similarly leading is here as well. Great. Let's go to adaptive list and try to have a leading icon. Icon dot list label sharp. Let's do that, and let's refresh. So this is our Cupertino list, and this is our material list. Perfect, very nice. I will just so it looks good. You can see the scrolling behavior here and the scrolling behavior here. So it's very native to both the platforms, and that's the power of Flutter, right? Okay, we'll go back to adaptive list style. We will play with trailing now. We will add trailing here. Okay, great, we have trailing. Fine, and we will also add trailing here. At both the places we have trailing. Let's say in trailing we will say text and 5. Let's do that. Okay, and for here also, so we have 5 here, 5 here, which is perfect. Nice. Now let's yeah, so these are part of your adaptive list style, which you define at once here and will be used at both the different places. What next? Let's say what is there is something called additional info here. Let's read about it, where it is shown. So let's look at that. Additional info. The additional info parameter is used to display additional information. It is placed at the end of the tile before the trailing is supplied. So let's try to give a text of 10 to 8, and let's see where it is visible in iPhone. So it is visible here, which means that Let's do this. The trailing icon, let's suppose trailing icon is your arrow, iOS rounded. Where is that next? Arrow next? No. Arrow forward. Yep. Arrow forward iOS. We can play with whether it's iOS or not. That's another story. Let's do this. Okay. So now imagine you have this arrow icon. Okay. And on Android as well, you have this arrow icon. Correct? Which looks perfect. But where is this 10? Now how we will do that? So in my opinion, if we go to adaptive list style again, for so basically let me just supply this additional info from here as well. Final widget. So this additional info can easily be supplied here with the help of a text widget, right? And with the help of this parameter, we can supply additional info. But and how does it look like on Cupertino? It looks like trailing icon, and before that there is another icon, right? And additional info is a widget here, trailing is a widget here. But in list style, trailing is a and list style also, trailing is a widget. So we will say you will have two children. Okay. If additional info is supplied, then use this additional info here. Otherwise, just leave it as it is. Sizebox dot shrink. Okay. And of course, the trailing, whatever widget is supplied, just use it after this trailing icon. So, and also because it can be null. So again, same stuff. Great. Now I will run it for Android and for iOS. Okay, there is some problem. Maybe, yeah, I need to supply main axis size. Right. So see now, I have this arrow 10 and arrow 10. Of course, we can play with the styling of these items, like it can be similar to this, but the functionality, what is the major functionality difference between these two things? For example, when I write on tap here, okay, both the list styles will have on tap functionality. Okay, and when I restart for Android and restart for iOS, I will click on Android first. So when I click on this, you see there is a ripple effect, right? Which is Material 3 style ripple effect. Okay, when I click on here, nothing is there, right? This is functionality of Cupertino list style. But when I long press it, there is a highlight. Yes, so this came from on tap. Okay, this came from on tap, and this is native functionality to both the list. So this is the difference that you can say, which identifies whether it's a Cupertino list style or it's a normal list style, but it depends on how you use it, right? Next would be, you see that this is a highlight, right? Both have different highlights, of course, based on theme. So can we make this color also same? So it turns out that yes, we can make it. For list style, it's a splash color. So let's say there is some splash color. Okay. And for Cupertino, it would be background color activated. So we will say, hey, splash color. For Cupertino list style, you go here. And it can also be a nullable thing. So we will say final color. We will go to adaptive list. We will say splash color. Oh, we forgot to make it declared here. Okay, go back here. Splash color, colors dot green, accent, and we'll run the application for iOS and Android. When I long press here, now it's green. When I long press here, this is also green. So you achieve the functionality having same colors, but again different list styles. Let's move to another variable. So let's say there must be some gap between this title and this icon, right? So we can play with that as well. There is some common functionality that can be applied to this. So for Cupertino list style, it's leading to title. This is a double, and for list style, it's basically horizontal title gap. This is also double, and it's nullable for that. So we will say final leading. It can be nullable because for Android, for Material, it's nullable, but for Cupertino, it's not nullable. So basically, if it's default, something is default, right? So what is this value? K leading to title. This value is 16. Great. So what we can do here is we will go to adaptive list style and we will calculate what is the exact leading to title gap. Okay, so if leading to title gap is supplied, okay, then okay, whatever is supplied we will take, right? And if it is iOS, we'll default it to 16, but sorry, to 12. But if it is Android, we'll default it to 16. So this is something that we want to achieve. We will pass this value here, and similarly we'll pass this value here. We'll remove the gap because we have to remove these underscores. So far we will rerun this. Okay, one more thing, in the adaptive list we will go and we will give leading to title. Okay, now we will rerun this application. We will go to adaptive list and we will supply, let's say 24, something very different value from the default ones. For Android we have run it, for iOS let's rerun. So there is some gap. There is some gap between these items, and this also has changed. So if I go back to make it 32 and refresh it, you can see the visually you can see the changes. There is much more gap between the elements. So for now I will just remove it and run the application for both the platforms. There is one more thing called as content padding. For both the widgets, we can apply that padding. So let's say you want to start your list style from left, right, from top, bottom. You want to have some padding. So for that you can have padding here. Okay, and for list style as well, you can have a padding. But here it's called content padding. So nothing much. We'll have padding here, and here we will final edge constant, edge insets, and padding. So this is how this widget will work. Now what we will do, we will supply this padding from here, edge insets dot all, and we'll say 32 and restart the application for iOS. We will see there is much gap, right? So this is how the gap works, and for Android as well there will be a huge gap. So this is the gap. Okay, now the last thing will be to play with the background color of your list style. So for that, Cupertino list style has this variable called background color. So we will say background color, go in there. Okay, and we will declare this background color here. For list style, the background color is denoted with tile color. So we'll run this application, but before that we need to supply the color as well. So we will say background color colors dot orange accent, any color, just for the sake of practicing. So I am just restarting for iOS as well, and you have this color. Color is same, but the list design is different. So this is how you create adaptive list.